Good afternoon, traders. I'm Michael Sabo, Senior Market Strategist with RJO Futures here in Chicago on April 23rd. Bringing you some commentary here in the crude oil markets. Let's get started here. We got June crude prices here, touch firmer right now. We're up around 101.93. Brent's off about 17 cents at around 109.10. Taking a look at nat gas, we're up just a touch here. We're up about 2 cents roughly. Complex is weaker. We're off about a penny and a half to a penny and a quarter, so a little bit of a weaker tone there. One of the things I want to talk to you here about real quick here, and I had mentioned a potential setup here in the market in Monday's post. If you didn't watch Monday's post, go back, take a look at that. And what I was talking about there was market consolidation that we were seeing and inside days that were kind of developing there. We saw an inside day on Thursday, of course, Friday being a holiday. We saw another inside day there on on Monday, and that was kind of a potential setup here. And the high that we saw there, or the range that we saw, basically the intraday range that we saw there, we saw a high of 103.83 with a low of 102.96, and that was Monday's range, which was entirely inside of Thursday's daily trading range. Tuesday, the market opened up at 103.60. We saw a high of 103.65 and a low of 101.51 with a close down at 101.75. So with that consolidation that we saw that market open up. We saw that market break, and we saw a real nice, actually, quite a large sell-off in the crude oil. And to understand how those setups can potentially work and how you can possibly take advantage of that here, really you should reach out, give me a call. I can get into a little bit more detail than I can right here. I can kind of show you how that might work for you. But certainly, as you know from watching a lot of my posts here, I've been maintaining kind of a bearish attitude on crude oil, even though recently it has been a little bullish. I've actually been a bit of a bear here. Big reason for that is I think we have ample supplies out there. And if we really take a look at here today, we had EIA data come out here, and we saw yet again another build in the stockpiles. We saw a build of 3.5 million barrels. That's taking our total stockpiles up for this time of year of around 397.6 million, our highest ever on record for this time of year. Our previous high was around 388.5. So we have about over 9 million barrels more than we've ever had on oil at this particular time here. So we've got a record amount of crude oil here right now. We've seen multiple weeks of builds here in the stockpiles. And yet, and this is something I mentioned in a lot of these posts here, look at the refinery capacity utilization. Last year, this time, refinery capacity utilization was operating at around 83.5%. This year, this time, we're operating at around 91% here. So refineries are really out there, and they're really operating at not quite 100%, as they never do, but certainly a larger increase year over year here, and yet we're still seeing builds in the overall stockpile. So I think that's certainly important to note that here. Now, taking a look at some of the fundamental data here affecting the markets here. We've had some weaker data coming out of China here, weaker manufacturing data, and you flip over to Europe here, PMI a little bit better than expected. Here on the equities market, the S&P has kind of been turning back up. So again, really a mixed bag as far as the economic data goes here. And yet, crude prices have been up here a little bit. But again, I think when you look at the big thing here, the supply and demand picture, I think that it points to possibly lower prices. So I have some ideas and strategies on how you can play it here to the downside if you're interested. Or if you're a bull in the market, I'd still like to talk with you here, and we can talk about how to position yourself to the upside using a couple of different strategies just in case you're wrong. Give me a call, shoot me an email. I'll be more than happy to talk with you.
Futures and options on futures may involve substantial risk and may not be suitable for all investors.